I got quotas to meet.
I
got quotas,
mate. All right, another negative that I didn't like, the switch between 24 and 48 frames per second. It just feels so jarring and inconsistent as well. Like, I think they switched to high frame rate, HFR, whenever it's like underwater or it's like a flying scene. But even then, it's inconsistent when HFR is enabled. And when they switch to those shots, it looks like an in-engine video game cutscene, wouldn't you agree? Like an Unreal Engine 4 thing.
For some reason, when I was watching it, I didn't notice it as jarring. Like, it just felt like, whoa, we've gone into another level. Kind of like in Fast and the Furious movies when Vin Diesel hits the NOS button. I was just like, all right, next level. There might have been one or two times where I was like, I don't think it needed to be smooth, hyper realistic.
The stuff that took like 10 years to make, that like makes us question, did they need that to be that special effect to be added? Like even the lens flare is in 3D, and it's like that's
What's the point?
I think even sometimes like there's the per object motion blur. It's like I think at one point I saw that the entire canvas, if you will, was like 48 frames per second, but some objects like motion blur, they were still moving. Like the physics of it, it was still seemed like the rifle, for example, was moving in like a 24 FPS. And it's just, I think I spotted that's one thing. That's like, and it's kind of it's for me as like a camera guy, it's jarring because it's sort of also similar to Christopher Nolan movies, when within the same scene it'll cut between IMAX and cinema aspect ratio.
It's a metaphor. It's for symbolism, because Christopher Nolan's amazing.
And you cannot ever criticize him ever. The change between frames per second is symbolic.
You're not watching Oppenheimer, where people look at bombs like this for 2 hours or 3 hours?
Just like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, once he gets out of the fridge, he just stares at the mushroom cloud. My eyeballs haven't been burned to crisps. What about you?
Yeah,
Luke?
What about you, Luke? What do you think?
Was the changing frame rate an issue for you or not? After a while, for me, it's like a non-issue. But what about you?
Look, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out. I actively audibly heard him say they just changed frame rate, and I was like, oh wait, they did. I think I was
you
just that
watched
engaged.
it with him.
Yeah.
So you had no choice. You noticed it because he kept telling you that it changed.
But I don't think it was.
You ruined the movie for him, Martin.
Walked straight out of there, demanded my money back.
Just the whole time he's like, just so you noticed, they're using a red camera now.
So I'm in the minority, it seems. I guess it's just for me, I'm like overly fastidious with this sort of thing. But what do you guys think? Like filmmaking peoples, non-filmmaking peoples, camera peoples, non-camera peoples? I guess let me know down in the comments below whether this was an issue for you or not. Like I know other people have been talking about this, and also just like that Ang Lee Will Smith movie where it was shot and screened in 120 FPS or something, and there's always going to be the people that like says, oh, this feels like a documentary. I mean, I'm one of them. When I see a piece of work that is in like a high frame rate, like 50 or 60, and it's like, this is something that I expect to see on like channel SBS or like a made for TV documentary. But everyone's viewing experience is gonna be different. Like I said, I kind of wasn't finding it to be that much of an issue. I mean, it was like a non-issue as I watched on with the HFR and also to the 3D. After a while, I kind of just went with the flow, and I wasn't actively conscientious of the 3D effects and the high frame rates and so on. I just was, I guess, engrossed in the story. Okay, now that I say that, I do wonder if the story was less than serviceable, unlike what it was in Avatar 2, then I wonder if then I'd be thinking more about the technical issues, like the inconsistency with the frame rate changes. But at a certain point, it's kind of nitpicky because of, well, sort of how textbook good this movie is, that you have to sort of pick apart something that's flawed about it. But that's a conversation for the full podcast, which you can catch on Apple Podcasts and Michael Pictionary's Movies Worth Seeing. And also, too, you can watch the abridged version either soon or it's already up on his YouTube channel at Michael Pictionary. Links in the description. So anyways, guys, is it a non-issue? Is it just me being sort of too meticulous, overly fastidious on this issue? Yeah, let me know if it's an issue for you and if you noticed it, or if you didn't notice it, like my friends Luke and Michael. Happy 2023, everyone. Hopefully the world improves this year. I might have just jinxed everything and the whole world's on fire or something, and hopefully we're not suffering from a nuclear fallout, and then every word I say anymore on this will just be aging like fine milk. Catch you all in another life, or most likely in whatever reaction video Michael Pictionary does on his YouTube channel, because I feel like nowadays I'm more active on his channel than I am on my own personal one. I don't even know what my YouTube channel is about anymore. Gaming? Filmmaking? I don't know. Para que no los dos. Alright, catch you later, guys. Bye. It's been so long, I forgot my staple is that I slam the camera unnecessarily and get smudgy fingerprints all over it. Gee, how original. Gee, it's not like I'm the only YouTuber that does that. Can I even call myself a YouTuber nowadays?